What's going on, guys? We're back again. It is Fury time. We have a special episode right now. We're going to be talking about the ladies in the head coach position. What do people feel about it? How does the people in the Fury Nation feel about it? If anybody watching this on YouTube, give us a holler, give us a call. Our phone number is 718-313-5155. Turning it over to Tim, Fog, Dula, and Josh. Guys, what's going on? What's up?
Yo, what up, fellas? Yo, we're doing a fun little segment tonight. You know, we do our usual predictions, trolling, rankings, yada yada. But let's.
I'm still gonna troll
tonight. Yeah, I know. It's always for you, Dula. But we're trying something a little bit new tonight. So bear with us. It's called Inside the Two. We're going to try to discuss more in-depth storylines, and we're going to try to, a little bit more of the politics side of the sport, maybe some controversial topics, see some opinions that may differ around the round table tonight. So, Tim, Fogs and Dula, Tim, start us off. Basically, we're discussing NFL female head coaches. Some are already coming up in the ladder already as assistants. Some are assistant, linebacker coaches. So, how do you feel this is going to impact the NFL today? Maybe the future, how it is overall for the sport, the integrity. Let's attack all angles of this.
I think it's taking too long. In my honest opinion, I think we had our first female referee last year. She refereed the New York Giants and Baltimore game, which I was there live, and I said hi to her. I said hi, and her name is Miss Sarah Thomas, and it was very cool because it showed that again, women place in sports just the way men does, and in my honest opinion, I think females are back for becoming a head coach. It's still the tradition of basically. I feel like nobody doesn't want to answer to a female on the sideline unless she's part owner or something like that. I believe we had one female owner that's for the Rams. So I think it's taking too long. I think females are capable of head coaching. I know there's gonna be a lot of rules and restricted with a regular coach going to the locker room and communicating with the players when they have no clothes on or something like that. But in reality, all you need is a good support system, and it could definitely work.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see someone like Jen Welter coming up. She got that opportunity to work with the Cardinals. Great accolades too. I mean, what else could you ask for? More coming out of a female, especially trying to get interested in the NFL. She even played herself, and she actually played a little running back, I believe, with the professional indoor arena team. Pretty badass, if you ask me. She's got her PhD. They call her a doctor, and they also call her coach, which is pretty awesome, And I believe she was working under Bob Sanders, the linebackers coach in Arizona, and the other assistant that's there, Larry Foote, who you also used to play for the Cardinals. So it's a great opportunity for her, and it's awesome to see. And I know we got Catherine Smith with the Buffalo, which is awesome too. I think for some people, though, I think there is going to be a little bit of I don't know if you want to call it maybe a generational gap, but I think you're always in this world, always going to have those people, especially males, that are always going to have a little bit of shade of misogyny to them. Especially, I mean, in my workplace, I have callers, especially, that will display it in terms of here and there. They'll say, I can't really trust a female voice, or I'm not going to trust your knowledge in this department of education or whatnot. So is there someone higher up I can speak to? But in other words, they want to speak to a male. So I think there is still going to be a few players here and there in the league that are going to be kind of, what is she doing? She doesn't belong on the gridiron. What is this BS? What has she done? And what is she going to do for us? She can't even bench what I can bench. Are you kidding me? What is her 40 time? What's her 40 time? And all the little female jokes come out about the kitchen here and there. So I don't think it'll be too much of an issue in the locker room, because I think those few people that still have that mindset are going to be a few far and apart, and they're definitely going to keep to themselves overall, because they don't want to be excluded in the locker room like a Richie Incognito. So, but overall, my aspect of it is absolutely, I think it's awesome for the sport. And how long would it take for a female to actually become a head coach in this league? That's a good question. And I actually want to hear, what Dula and Fox have to say on the topic too.
So I'm gonna be a little contrary here. Not completely though. I think it's great that there are, women head coaches, not head coaches, but women, coaches in the NFL. I think what you have to understand is that if you look at the NFL 20 years ago, typical football player, they all fit the same mold. They all kind of have the same personality. Same thing about football coaches. I think, if you look at a locker room now, personality-wise, you got personalities all over the map, right? You got your more flamboyant types. You got your more, quote-unquote man's men. You got a little bit of everything between, right? So I think it's good that they're bringing women who, while they're still good at their job and understand the mechanics of the game, which as a coach, that's what you're really coaching up, that they can bring a different personality and maybe relate to different players that probably maybe not have been able to be reachable by your typical, quote unquote meathead head coach or position coach. I'll say this though, I don't think there'll ever be a woman head coach in the NFL for a few reasons actually. One, it's kind of what I just said. There's this still old boys club, in professional sports across the board, especially with the owners. I think there'd be enough pushback from the owners to be very critical of a team that decides to go down that route of hiring a woman head coach. Two, I still think there's a problem with minority head coaches. I don't think they figured that out yet. It's hard for them to take on women when they haven't really fully. I know there's the Rooney Rule, but it's been hit and miss, right? And I think some teams are using the excuse of. I think Terrell Austin is an example of this. A guy who, is interviewed for plenty of HC positions. And I think teams sometimes bring him along just for the sake of, we got a black guy in. So we fulfilled our Rooney Rule. We're good to go. I think the third is the biggest one, that if you're the head coach, or if you're a position coach or even a coordinator, for the most part, unless you're a diehard football fan, no one cares, right? If I asked you to name the special teams coach for the Dallas Cowboys, you may or may not be able to name that. But if I asked you who the head coach was, you could tell me it's Jason Garrett, right?
Right.
When you become a head coach in the NFL, you not only represent the organization, but to a larger extent, you represent the city, right?
Okay.
I don't think in America, at least, we've gotten progressive enough to where a large city, take a LA, take any of these larger markets, even a smaller market. The moment anything bad happens, it would be World War III in the media. And I don't think teams are prepared for handling that.
No.
I agree.
You going on?
I agree 100% with that number 3 for Dilla, because it is all about what the media and the fan base perception is going to be. They're not ready for a female head coach. Let's take female head coach. The fact that we've got females coaching in the league, that's a huge plus. Like Dilla said, to echo his sentiments, they haven't figured out the racial barrier yet. They haven't figured out how, like teams are just doing the Rooney Rule to fill a status quo, as opposed to actually being interested in a quality black head coach. So you use that. Then you look at a female. Can you honestly see a female being a head coach, and the minute something goes wrong, it not becomes a sexist thing where, well, she never played, she doesn't know this, she doesn't know, and all of a sudden her sex is going to be her credentials once the media starts assassinating it if they start losing? No, we're not ready for that. We may be progressive enough to say, yeah, this should happen. Yeah, objective enough that this is the direction it should go, and these are the qualities. We argue over is Tony Romo a Hall of Famer or not? So if we can't agree on certain particulars as far as statistics are concerned, how the hell are we going to agree on something socially accepted, especially from a sexist standpoint in a misogynistic environment. Come on.
Well, I totally disagree. I really
wait. You think we're progressive enough that this is something that will be accepted? Tim, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, we're speaking on the Rooney Rule. No disrespect to anybody. I'm against the Rooney Rule. I'm a fair believer in you work your ass off and you go up the ranks like everybody else. Mike Tomlin didn't get the job working in the Rooney Rule. So did he didn't get the job working going in the Rooney Rule. I recall the Giants defensive coordinator. I forgot his name. African American. He was asked for
Perry Fewell.
Because he said he's embarrassed by the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule is only something where, okay, you gotta interview a black coach to then hire somebody else. If you don't want me, don't waste my time. I think it's a horrible rule. I think it's for guys who are just complaining, like, Stephen A. Smith, who don't know anything, and he's saying, oh, how come Gary got a job and Marvin Lewis? Listen, every owner has a right to pick what they want and who they're comfortable with. That's all it's about. It's not about what's fair and not fair. Now, here's the thing. We're talking about we're not ready for that. First of all, we have to. Here's another thing. We didn't even mention the LGBT community. That's another thing we have to get ready for. We had a guy, Michael Sam, who announced it. But here's the thing. Players in the NFL who are part of the LGBT community, and they had a career. The thing is, keep your business to yourself. That's the problem. People want to use it to gain something. Don't use the NFL platform to gain something using what you are and who you're about. A female can definitely become a head coach if she goes to the rank accordingly. We had this the Buffalo Bills hired a special team coach. That's part of the job. I'm not saying you go from high school to the head coach.
Tim, no one's debating that. No one's debating that. The debate here is society ready for a female head coach?
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. And they're not.
Tim.
Donald Trump is the president, Tim. Donald Trump is the president. That's all you need to know about what this society is about. What the shit?
Can I just?
Oh my God! Already this early? You don't piss me off?
I'm coming.
All
right.
We disagree, Fod.
All right, let Dula go first, Tim.
I believe a woman is ready. I don't understand why not.
I'm not saying a woman is or isn't ready. I'm saying society isn't ready. There's a big difference.
Why not? Why not? Well, society's changing every day.
All right, here's why.
We have Disney.
Tim.
Hey, Fod. We have Disney.
Guys. All right, let's go, and then I have to interject in the subject as well. Go ahead, Dula.
Oh, we are ready. Right. I'm ready.
Tim, let's do it though.
Damn it.
Tim, let's be real here. Let's be really real about. Let me give you a scenario.
Go ahead.
Let's say the Philadelphia Eagles, because this is a great example. Let's say they hire a female head coach. Let's say they hire 10 years from now. We'll give it a decade, right?
Okay.
10 years, female head coach, right?
Right.
If the Eagles go 5-11, what's the newspaper down there in Philadelphia? I forget the name of it.
Okay, here's the thing. May I answer that to you, Dullah? May I answer that?
No, I'm not done though. I'm not done because that's just
Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yeah, the Inquirer. Let's say Philadelphia Inquirer in turn, not only bashes this woman, but gets on the whole whatever sexist thing that it's very easy to do. It's very easy to do, which in turn affects the whole freaking league. So now you have a black eye on the city of Philadelphia. You have a black eye on the organization. You have a black eye in the NFL. Do you really think they want that? Now, listen. Now, on the other hand, if she goes 11-5 and wins the Super Bowl, hey, beautiful thing, right? Hooray! Everyone celebrates. The thing is, it works in both directions, but you have to really consider your best and worst case. Your worst case could get very ugly.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Can I just make a point right now? Now I'm kind of in the middle on this, and I agree that right now society isn't ready. But to Tim's point, well, not sort of Tim's point is this: when? Because when you now look at greatest change to social norms, especially when the norms is, you know, ethically wrong, like slavery or whatever. You have a big push. It's not like, okay, we're going to sit back and wait. Like Selma, I mean, don't want to take this away from sport too much. I'm going to bring it back to sport real quick. What Selma wasn't really a peaceful walk. It's really a tactic to make the racists play their cards. So society will be like, holy crap, you know, segregation is gone too far. And they boldly made the push. Now, coming back to the subject about women being a head coach, the society is not ready, but are we just going to wait for society, or is there going to be a big push? And who is going to make that big push to make this a statement where down the line we are used to head coach women? Because we're not ready, but the biggest...
I can answer that question. That's a good question. When that could happen is, let's see, I'll say this. If you have I feel like in this, if we're keeping it just about sports in the NFL, with clout that's willing to step out there and put their neck out and put their name on something, you know, everything's fine. So, for example, if Bill Parcells came out, if Bill Belichick, if some of these more heavyweight, if Mike Tomlin, some of these more heavyweight coaches had someone in the pipeline and said, hey, this woman coach, you know, this person coached their butt off, and they get them in that position to succeed, that's when all that goes away. Because one thing about sports and society is that if you win, no one cares about the rest, right? It's only when you lose is when there's a problem. But if you win and you got the cosigns of whoever, who cares? Put an orangutan there.
Winning cures all.
And you know what?
Winning cures all.
And that's going to be my second point, actually.
But
Because
see,
the thing
but
that sucks, if a woman does poorly, and it could be a statistic poorly, where it's not based on gender at all, perception-wise, people will make the fact that, you know, she's a woman, and more than the, you know, other factors why that team did not, you know, play well this year.
See, it's going to be the exact same representation that it's going to be exact same criticism that black quarterbacks received back in the 80s and 90s. Oh, they're not intelligent enough to win. So the minute a black quarterback got into a situation where they were they lost a big game or whatever, oh, well, there it is. It fits the narrative and the stereotype that was painted by, unfortunately, the sports America, in this case, predominantly white America. It will be the same type of
Judgment.
I guess judgment or I'm grasping for straws here, but the same type of separation type of thing that is going to be like, oh, well, yeah, she's a woman. It's not going to be related to statistics or anything else. People are going to justify it by gender as opposed to by numbers because she is different. She is outside of what society is normally used to accepting.
Well, this is the thing, Fa. I'll give you that. I'll give you that point where you're going to have the ignorance, where you're going to have people pointing the finger that it's her fault because she couldn't coach. But here's the thing, and I want to go back to what Della was saying. When you mention a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills, those low budget teams that don't know how to build a team correctly, it took them years and years and years. They haven't won. Listen, here's the thing. What do all those teams have in common? They all have black quarterbacks who fail and get the blame. They all have black head coaches who fail and they get the blame. So with a female, the only thing, ignorance will come out because she's a woman, but everybody will come. It will come to the light and say, you know what? It's the organization. See, a team like my Dallas Cowboys, the New England.
Are you sure it'll come to light? How long did it take to come to the light with black quarterbacks, Tim?
You know how fast it took? Do you know how long it took? First of all, when has a black? First of all, you see a guy like Russell Wilson. You see him? Now here's the thing. He's a black quarterback. When you have a support system where it allows you to grow and win at the same time, baby, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful work. Like the Dallas Cowboys, where everybody says we don't like black quarterbacks, and we have 3 of them. They have done. a great support system. When you have that, it's beautiful. So if we recognize, how about what the teams are doing constantly, every single fucking time? Then we're gonna put out, you know what? It's not her fault. It's been going on for years. So here's the thing.
Tim, but you're
I'm sorry, Tim.
You're asking for society to go against the norm. Warren Moon has been completely overlooked throughout the entirety of his career.
Warren Moon's a hypocrite. He's a freaking hypocrite. That Warren Moon's the type of guy to come
Sean
out
hit the goddamn you button now.
Against each other. I don't want to hear Warren Moon. He's garbage.
Wait, whoa.
Give me somebody else.
Hold on, bring this back to the whole woman part. If there was a woman head coach for the Dallas Cowboys and they're average,
You would support her.
no, you wouldn't. That's bullshit. You know.
Wait, yeah, Jerry Jones would do his thing by the way he did with everybody else. Jerry Jones went with Barry Switzer. He won with a college coach. Why can't he win with a female head coach? It's the foundation.
Those are two totally different things.
Nah,
Two totally different things.
Listen, the thing is this: I would agree that I would not want to put a woman head coach around or the New York Jets or the Buffalo Bills or the Philadelphia Eagles, teams like that where they don't do much. They be building every freaking. They change rosters like drawers every year.
That's
sorry.
Come on, that's the NFL.
Yeah.
Every team has turnover. Your team has turnover. Everyone's team has turnover. It is what it is.
But here's the thing: you gotta. If you have a female head coach, if you're a good organization and you got history, you're gonna build around her like the way you do everybody else. Nothing changes.
But if she doesn't win, she's going to get criticized just the same, Tim. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm not doubting that. I'm not. But here's the thing, though: it will still come to light. It will come to light. Listen, it will come. The fans, the ignorant fans of that city, yes. The ignorant fans of that city, of course,
society. Tim, come on, man.
All right. So
really?
let me ask this question.
Go ahead,
and I'll answer it last. Let's say that out of the 32 teams in the NFL, one's going to hire a head coach. What teams? And I want you to take all into account the organization, the geography, the history, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
What team is in position to do such a thing? I'll say this right now. There's no team in the Southeast United States that's in that position, or really the southern part of the United States. It's too much history, Confederacy, bigotry down there for that to happen. I'm just saying that now. But who do you think?
I'm going to say no team. No team is ready to hire a female head coach because of the culture that the NFL is.
I'm sorry. I disagree. I just
So
think
then don't disagree. Name teams and give me reasons why, Tim. Don't disagree.
I'm gonna give it to you right now. Of course, my Dallas Cowboys. I'm gonna go with the New England Patriots. I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm gonna go with who else?
You're gonna go with the Giants. The fan base that would crucify whoever they got.
Wait, you have to name teams.
Done. He just went with the New York fan base that will turn on Babe Ruth. For Christ's sake. In this day and age. Come on.
Fogg, here's the thing, Fogg. Those teams that I mentioned, they have trophies. They have a winning organization. They have value.
More pressure.
It's not, Tim. It's not about what you have done for me. It's it's not what you've done for me lately. It's what you're doing for me right now. If she isn't winning right now, she's going to receive a hell of a lot more criticism than any other coach.
You know what? I haven't heard from Josh.
Wait, hold on.
Josh.
Excuse me, I'm being interrupted now again. Now, Fogg, I was asked. You asked me a question. I gave you all the teams. With those winning organizations have in common, you never hear a peep of that team is losing because of their head coach. No, they ain't losing because we decide to rebuild.
Wait, the Giants fans and organization, the Giants fans and the New York-based media wasn't criticizing Tom Coughlin? I'm sorry, were you asleep in Dallas somewhere when that was happening?
I mean, you don't listen.
New York.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
But hold on. But
don't make me channel my inner Stephen A. Smith right now.
So here's the thing. Whatever Stephen A. Smith talks about football, I don't listen. It makes my ear bleed. He has.
So he must have had you deaf for the Tom Coughlin years then.
So that's what you. I didn't hear Tom Coughlin. I heard a lot of things. It's a lot of things, but we all know what the truth is.
Josh,
media likes to make them slow to blow it up.
Interject at any point in time.
All right,
I mean, listen.
Tim knows damn well what the Giants go
Am
through
I gonna
because
believe that Tom
he's
Coughlin
part
is the
of-
reason he wanted to say? See, I'm being
Yo.
I'm being interrupted again.
I will mute.
We're getting off track, man.
No, hey, listen. But let me finish my point though. Don't interrupt me and then say I gotta stay quiet.
You've been talking for like 5 minutes, bro. Wrap
Oh,
it
but
up.
I'll be talking at the same time, Sean.
Wrap it
But I'll
up.
be talking. I won't say nothing. Go ahead.
No. You say you want to
No,
make a
I gotta save my voice. I gotta save my voice.
So hold on. So you said the Dallas Cowboys, New England Patriots, New York Giants. All right.
Josh,
Okay.
we haven't heard from you.
So Tim, I know you like to do this little daily thing with the Giants where you just pull up a picture, make a little headline, and share it to our group. You like to get your LOLs, and yeah, of course, who wouldn't? But you obviously know, being a first-hand enemy of New York is the biggest media spot in the world, especially in the NFL. Who in the last 10 years, Tim, on the Giants staff hasn't either been in the New York Post, on Twitter, in the media by a beat writer, been criticized of failing at their position and immediately should be fired because of where the current state of the Giants are at? I'll tell you, if you want me to save you some research, Perry Fewell, Steve Spagnuolo, Tom Coughlin, Jerry Reese, Tim Mara, or Steve Tisch, who else is there? Tim Johnson, pretty much the whole damn staff for the past decade or maybe even 15 years. Why? Because it's New York, and if you don't perform, you're going to get your head on a spear, and then that spear is going to be lit on fire, and then even doused in gasoline, and maybe sprayed with a little isopropyl. So a female head coach in New York, for one, absolutely would not work right now. In 10 years, I don't even think so. 20 years? I don't even know if society is going to change enough in 25 to 30 years enough for that to be a possibility right now. The baby steps is good right now. The assistant coaches, that's not impactful on the whole organization. Like Dula said, when you're a head coach, you're impacting not only the organization, but when people think of the team, they think of the head coach mostly. They don't think of the owners. They don't think of the GM. They think of the head coach. He's responsible for all 53. It's him that is responsible for getting all 53 men on that roster prepared on game days.
Well, you know what?
And I know you like to say that you would you could see a woman coaching Dallas. But Tim, let's be real. If Dallas was to continue going on 8-8, 7-9, maybe 9-7, missing the playoffs, you would be screaming up and down to Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. Why in the hell did you bring in Rebecca Van Sue to coach this goddamn organization? We got 5 Lombardis, and you're bringing in someone that has maybe a Pinewood Derby trophy in her case? Come on, man. And let me ask you something else. You said we got trophies, we got history. Would that not be more pressure on the woman in the NFL than it would be to say go to like Cleveland where they have nothing and maybe she doesn't have so much to play for and protect?
Oh, it's
I
good.
would like to answer that, but I would like to answer that. But Sean, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
I'm allowed to? Okay. Here's the thing. When it comes from pressure, it's not just the head coach. It comes from the organization from top to bottom. If you're going to be doing, if you're going to hire somebody, your job, your number one job is to make sure you give that general manager, that head coach, the best piece around. Everything to make it work and win. That's what you do. You don't go ahead and do less and then put the blame on somebody. That's what's wrong with your organizations. I'm sorry. I feel, don't get me wrong with the New York Giants. They've won it lately, but let's keep this real. Going back to my era of the 90s, my God, it was disgusting. yes, New York would be terribly bad, not because of the city, because of the organization you had over there. You haven't won nothing. Eli get drafted. Look what's going on now. If you want to get down to my Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones does everything, even illegal shit, just to make sure you get the best player. You go all out and you sell out. You sell out for your head coach to win. Now you mentioned, what does Jason Garrett have? Jason Garrett was a backup quarterback in Dallas, a backup quarterback with the Giants. All he did was suited up but study like a coach in every team he went to. He has no college resume. He has no resume and head coach with somebody else. So if he can get it, he can. Look at Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was garbage in Cleveland. But wait a minute. Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Let me backtrack that up. It was the Browns. And that's why with the Patriots, a guy like Robert Kraft, who believes in his team and does whatever he needs to do for his team to win, Belichick is looking like that.
You're separating media takes or the media city to talent evaluation.
No, see, you know what?
That doesn't really correlate with each other.
Whoa! Wait!
The media's job is.
I like Josh to fully flesh that out first. Then I'm going to let Dula come in. Tim, you already made your point. Come on, you got to give.
You did make that point, though.
Josh, elaborate a little bit.
Well, the one thing I wanted to ask you guys too. I was posing this in my head because I know that today's society is such a social media driven. We're so tied to our damn cell phones and computers and the dopamine in our heads for freaking likes and all this. So, to you guys, do you think? There's quite, maybe there's a good portion of people in the NFL locker rooms that are keeping hush about this overall women in the organization because it could look bad on them and they don't want to voice their opinion to be singled out on like social media, Twitter, whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
Answer quick because we have a new caller in, but answer quick.
Okay.
Going back to my previous question I asked, I think the Seattle Seahawks is a team that would be in a position to get away with this. Because of their geography, because of their they don't have a long established history. Seattle's a fairly progressive city, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. But to answer that question, Josh, yeah, I do. I think there are probably more supporters of this than one would imagine. And it's always about who's going to take that first step and who is going to take the proverbial L so that others can be a little more comfortable. That's how it's been for every controversial thing in the NFL.
Well, before I let anybody else finish, answer that really quickly. Who's this on the call from Rochester?
Oh, you know who this is.
Oh, it is Trisha. What's going on?
Yeah, I had to call in as soon as I heard him said that Chet's not doing nothing, so I had to sound the alarm real quick because he's stashing my teams. But I wanted to just say something real quick. Well, two things. I agree with what Bosnick is saying. We could coach. I mean, we're trained to lead a team of people trying to grow and do something for themselves naturally or maternally by being like mothers, but at the same time, like I don't think that society is ready for it in this kind of sport. Because if they were, we would see it in much easier sports with the barrier to entry to kind of get like hands-on experience in like basketball and the NBA. Like we don't have female NBA coaches, and they're also like we have female coaches in the WNBA, but we also have males in that space as well. So it's kind of unfair, even in our own sport, but we won't be able to get that opportunity in the NFL because we're not ready. You guys are sitting here worried about what would happen if we lose and using terms like get away with it. I just heard Dula said that. Get away with it. just in case like something goes wrong. Y'all be losing all the time, but the term is not get away with it for us. But the other side of the script is perhaps there's another obstacle. We have to have more females in the sport in general. I don't know that many female football coaches. So I think there needs to be a penetration of an influx of female coaches from the bottom up in all levels first.
Yeah.
Before we start to talk about that part, because once there's enough, once it's saturated, then there's that push that Sean was talking about, push that'll come from us, And I think males got to advocate for us as well, because that's the only way we get in. Like y'all was saying, like we need a head coach with some clout that'll back us, but we also need to back ourselves. And I don't know if that's happening in the way that would make it effective, so that we could fight for ourselves if no one's going to fight for us. So these women that are there now, I hope they're pioneers. I hope they lead the way and start pushing, make that happen. Because I think it's in their hands now, but it's two sides of this: society and then us.
So I got a question for you. How long do you think it would take for something actually to happen where you can actually see a female head coach?
I don't think it'll happen in the next decade. We're still fighting to get to the top in the workplace, and we all do work, right? So it's
exactly.
It's hard. It's hard.
The criticism that women in from a sports media aspect. The criticism that women receive in the sports media aspect, talking about football, is relentless.
Oh, please, yes.
So to have a woman head coach, they're not ready for it.
Yeah, even the reporter, like a female reporter, they could be as professional. They could know all the right terminology.
Yep.
And the very first criticism, what is she doing there? What is she wearing? I've seen athletes, I've seen reporters, I've seen fans dress in all kinds of weird ways, and I don't really have a problem with it. You show your truth. But if you're talking football and you're making sense, why is the first thing about how you dress? Now, for a guy, if they're making sense, it doesn't matter how they're dressed. They will critique that dude on what they say in football. But if it's a female, just a little bit off, and we're not even talking about, social norm off. Like maybe there's a split here, split ends. Like all of a sudden it's okay, how the hell she knows anything about sports because with her split ends? Like, dude, what the hell are you talking about?
I want to try to dissect that question, Sean, because it really is a tough one to answer. And it kind of intrigues me. When will we be ready, and how do we make society ready, or are we just going to have to wait? And I think that is pretty much the answer, is we are going to have to play the waiting game. This is going to be a time issue. Yep. It's going to be more generational and society thing where, we have to wait for these older kind of middle-aged older heads that have this mentality of, you can't do this X, Y, and Z because you have a vagina. They have to all phase out in our world. Sadly enough, that's just the way it has to be. And this younger generation, the kids that are growing up nowadays, the way they're being raised is, look, everything is accepted. You could be whatever the hell you want to be nowadays. You could, hey, you're born with a penis, you can have a vagina because that's the way you transform yourself. Whatever, that's how you identify yourself.
I would just say this one quick, Josh. Yes, society, public opinion is moving more so progressive, but when it comes to women opinion, if you were told, even young men in our age range, it is still very chauvinistic. So it may not be as progressive in the next generation to take up the leadership role that it would mean that automatically a chance for women in the way that they deserve. It's a chance, but it may not play out that way because it's not moving that progressive as far as when it comes to
But Sean,
of the role of a woman.
Sean, I was just about to touch on exactly what you're saying because Josh was talking about the male aspect of it, but what we didn't address is the female aspect of it. And women, even in our generation, who are sports isn't it, that they don't understand or comprehend that connection that men have with sports. They still have a problem understanding how can you sit there and be devoted like this or be a fan like that. So how are they going to even teach if their daughters are interested in something like that? How is that going to be taken by the mothers of today and this generation? So yes, you're 100% right, Sean. This isn't going to just be this generation. It's going to have to. This may not occur for, forget a decade. This might be 2 or 3 decades in the making.
And let me just.
All right. Well,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kyle, but quick. You remember Gamergate, right?
Right.
Well, when they were all just with a woman female was talking about video games, like a woman reporter, and the amount of visceral hate and the rape attack and the trolling she got was from people our age and younger. So it's not that, so you have to understand that the generation isn't moving that quick. Sorry, Kyle, go ahead.
I actually want to address something Timothy said a while back. It was in reference to the Dallas Cowboys and the idea of, certain teams winning teams. Say what you want. I wouldn't call Dallas a winning team within the last 20 years or so, but whatever. Let's say they are. And something about how, you put pieces around your head coach, make them successful. Cool. Here's my question. All right. They get a female head coach. Good to go. Get some pieces around them. Good to go. Right. In that locker room, knowing what locker room culture is, go back to Jonathan Martin. Go back to Richie Incognito. Go back to numerous locker room stories, right? And I don't know anyone that's, I don't know if any of us have, played sports, but been in the locker room, right? That locker room culture. Big thing for players, big thing for coaches. Tim, how do you think a female coach fits into locker room culture as it is?
Sean, may I answer that?
You may. Yes, you may.
Yeah, because I don't want to get cut off again. Here's my opinion.
What happened, Tim? What were you going to say? It's a joke, Tim. Laugh. It's okay.
I will mute him if he ever cut you off again, Tim. I got your next time. Go ahead.
I'll ban the motherfucker.
See, because here's the thing, though. When it comes to a locker room, and I have to say, I have been in a locker room with my type of job experience where the females and the males share the locker room. It's about maturity. Whoever's in charge, or if you have somebody in charge with you, set the standards. Standards and the rules go, everything falls in place. A female should, I'm gonna say it like this: 90%. Not to get off the football aspect, but 90% of females work with the worst criminals in New York City and corrections.
Right.
90% are women. We're talking about state readies, city centers, detainees. We're talking about big ones, big dudes, small dudes, crazy dudes. And I have witnessed do their job. So when I see a female, when we talk about female, we're talking about communicating with in a football aspect. There's no issue with that. The thing is this: if a player disrespects you, you have to handle your business. Discipline action needs to happen. That's all it is. Once you set the tone, everything will fall in place. A woman could do any job as good as a man. There's men who can't even open a can of ketchup, but a woman can. You have to give it a chance. If the support system is strong for that female, other teams, I'm talking about from the top. The top is horrible. if you want to go ahead, we go ahead with I mentioned the New York Jets. And Johnson & Johnson baby powder, who is the owner, you're going to hire a coach who's a hot candidate. You saw what he did with the Cardinals, and you know him, and now he's about to get fired. And I say
I got a
getting fired
Tim,
because he's
I apologize for interrupting you, Tim, but I got a question.
Don't worry, Sean will let that go.
He's going to mute
Go
me.
ahead.
I've asked him to mute you 1,000 times, but he's going to mute me. God damn it. Tim, here's the thing with that. I agree with you 100%. But is a organization that is dysfunctional at the top actually going to hire a woman head coach? Think about that. Would they actually hire a woman head coach? That woman head coach would have to be so she would have to be the LeVar Ball of media at this point in order to get hired. And an organization as dysfunctional as the Jets or the Dolphins at the top of the organizations to do that, we would know going into it, this is nothing more than a media, a media hype, a media spin, something to just grab headlines to get the front page of the paper.
So are you saying they would have to be almost like an intimidating female, almost like a Red from Orange is the New Black, or like a Ronda Rousey kind of as a head coach?
Not necessarily, but they would have to stand their ground. They would have to be firm with what they say. I don't think a female in the locker room is a problem. Like Tim said, as long as the coaching staff and the organization is on board, if she says jump, your ass better be saying how high because your job is in jeopardy. What I'm discussing more or less is the outside factor of it. You can have all the control in the locker room. The outside factor and the outside perception, unfortunately, influences 80% of these organizations and what they do and how they do. And if they're losing, 8-8 for Jason Garrett was people calling for his head. Can you imagine 8-8 for a woman head coach in Dallas? What they would have been calling for?
Sean, may I interject what Fogman was saying with that? I got something to say about that.
Yes, you may.
When it came to Jason Garrett getting his head get cut off, who came to his aid, Fogman? Jerry Jones.
I get that, but Jerry Jones received extreme criticism for that.
About it. It's the same thing goes with Tony Romo not winning a championship. Jerry Jones went on air and said he's the reason why Romo never won a championship. It's his fault. He's the reason why Garrett went 8-8. He took the blame. So when you
and how many people actually care about that? That's the other thing.
See, here's the thing, Fogman. If any of us are sports players and we tell the media, I fought it or we fought it, they're gonna write in the paper, we shit it. That's what they do. Fought and shit are two different things. They're gonna say one thing bigger than what you actually said. If Jerry said it's my fault that while we lost, and he admits that, right now you're hurting the media's plan. The media's job is to create headlines. They don't care how false it is. They want to create headlines. You as an individual have to, as a coach, a female coach, have to say, you know what? My boss came to my aid. That's all I need to know. I don't care what anybody else says. But a lot of these head coaches, when they're being talked about by the media, you're hearing, oh, your owner may fire you. Your owner don't communicate with you. He don't do anything for you. So guess what? You're being, excuse my French, fucked both sides. When you have your owner come to your aid and tell you it is what it is, I got your back, that's all you need. That's all you need. And that's the point. You don't even have,
but my question to you is there an listen, organizations, I'm going to tell you right now, there are organizations now because of the backlash of what has happened socially with domestic violence that they're afraid to take players, but they'll still take players. Can you imagine if they're nervous about this? If Joe Mixon was only interviewed by 4 people and Joe Mixon, of all the players, had the least damning situation. Well, maybe Caleb Brantley was his was more least damning than Mixon's. But there was only 4 teams willing to interview him. Brantley was he went what in the 5th, 6th round? if teams are going in this direction, can you imagine what it is? The media shitstorm that they don't want to go through with hiring a female coach, even if they have the structure in place, like you say with Jerry Jones, for example, and Dallas, because Jerry Jones will back his coaches if he believes in them. Even if they have that structure in place, do you think they want to go through that? You think Jerry Jones likes having to answer scrutinizing questions that are not football related, especially in a particular situation like this where it would be a female, where you're going to have to answer football related questions from a football related aspect and to have to defend her sex on top of why the team isn't succeeding?
Man, he did. He had in the past. He took Michael Sam.
Well,
in the book. He took Michael Sam, tried him out for his practice squad and everything. See what he could do. He answered all the questions. That's the thing about it. Everybody don't have the heart and fire to take all the risk. And when you take the risk, you got to know how to own up to it. And that's the problem. A lot of these teams don't.
He took a guy that most people didn't think was going to be an NFL player to begin with. A guy that was taken in the fourth or fifth round.
Max, it is. If the female head coach was to draft Joe Mixon for what he had done, it'd be kind of different when a female goes, well, I drafted Joe Mixon because I believe X, Y, and Z. I guarantee you, if a female was to draft Joe Mixon, you won't even have the same issues right now that he's having right now in Cincinnati. A female.
Actually, you would have more women upset with that than male fans. I think male fans would be like, oh, shit, that's what I'm talking about. She's a football person. She's looking past the BS.
Well, okay, but we could go back and forth in this, and we can have this discussion going forever. I think we all made our points on the matter of, making examples of, the controversies in the football, industry now, as we know, with domestic violence as an example. But we could make assumptions. How would that play out for the first female coach? And honestly, we really don't know how it will play out. I mean, to make Michael Sam an example or domestic violence an example, I mean, the only thing that we really know is that the league is really bad with dealing with controversy and putting out fires. They're really bad.
And they're not a progressive league. The most progressive league as far as sports is concerned is the NBA. The NFL is so far behind, it isn't even funny.
We're almost an hour in, but that being said, I have a question for you guys. Now, we talk about the NFL, the pro league. Let's jump to the college league, college football. And I think did Miami had a woman head coach? Am I right or wrong with that one?
I think it's more possible. However, it would probably not happen in a Power 5 conference immediately. So you're probably not going to see a head coach at Alabama, LSU, Michigan. In fact, let me revise that. You may see it in a Power 5 conference, but it's not going to be a team in which there's a ton of history, et cetera, behind it. So if we saw a woman head coach at Vanderbilt, for example, that wouldn't be too crazy, right?
No.
I saw it at Colorado. Wouldn't be too crazy because these are usually kind of like, schools that maybe in major conferences, but not a ton of history. But at Alabama or Michigan or LSU or a Florida, no. Not right now. But you have a better chance of it happening. Due to the nature of coaching in college football, it's a lot more grittier, it's a lot more scrappier to get those positions initially. So if you're able to get a woman on staff early while they're in college, that's kind of the key there. Gotta give them that exposure. I could very well see someone working their way up.
Anybody else?
Plus,
college ball. Coach.
Yeah.
College ball. Sorry. What
also, I don't know. I think it would. I think it'd be even tougher from a collegiate aspect because of the way women are viewed in college sports. I mean, you look at all the issues right now, the Title IX issues that universities have. Hell, I think it'd be more difficult in college than it would be in the NFL.
Well, I don't. Like I said, I don't believe it's good for college football. In college football, you're doing scholarships. I don't see it. I think it's better for the NFL. That's all I gotta say.
I'll say that the college head coach position is a lot harder. Fact that you have to recruit as well. So now you have to travel and you have to basically convince families, because right, you got to convince these mothers and all these mothers, fathers, whoever, to let their kid attend said school. And again, now you're the face of that school too. I think that part makes it a little harder, the recruiting aspect of it.
With the perspective of sports in college.
Yeah.
Plus, there's still an immaturity factor with most of the college kids. I think you don't want to put another distraction right there in the locker room per se. You might have some wandering eyes, not a lot of focus going on. The kids got some growing up to do before they can become potential pro athletes. So, and like Dula stated, with the entry positions, trying to get into just the collegiate staff, it's trying to get your pin basically selected out of the whole comb brush. So.
Okay, I mean, is there anything else you want to cover on this issue? I mean, I wish we had more callers. I mean, thank you, Trisha. I was trying to reel in Wendy, but I don't know if you were able to.
Yeah, I think this women participation shows how females will be affected in the NFL. Jeez, thanks a lot, ladies.
Yeah,
I tried to do this for you.
Their lack of participation in this speaks in volumes.
No, but I see Tim's points. He made good points, but society, it is tough.
No, Tim is 100%. Listen, Tim, you're 100%. I know you're a little upset,
right,
but you're 100% right with the locker room aspect. No, I think there's a huge.
I'm not upset.
100% correct with that. But
right. No, I'm not upset.
You may be ready for it, like you said. You're ready for it.
Yeah.
We may be all ready for it, but you can't project what you believe onto others. That's the big problem.
I'm not upset. I just don't like being mute. That's it.
Sean still hasn't figured out how to hit the mute button. No worries.
He has.
No, he hasn't. I've asked him to mute you 100 times, and he hasn't muted you.
Sean needs 36 hours in his days.
Listen, we all got
a sea chicken fan. You got to forgive him.
Listen, we all got our points, and we all have our belief. I'm not upset about that, but it's like I said, I know I'm ready. Society is the way it is. It's criticism. There's nothing they don't criticize. The whole point is to don't weigh yourself down on the criticism. You gotta basically stand up to it, and if you have the support system, you're gonna be good. It's every year. Black head coach, black quarterbacks. I mean, let's keep this real. If you're black, we all have arguments. Say, okay, a black quarterback, why they never treated like Tom Brady or things like that. Well, here's the thing. Before you say treat, look at the teams they're going to and look at the history of what them teams do to those players. Don't come and say, oh, well, because it's a black thing. No, it's not always a black thing. You have a guy like Cam Newton with the Carolina Panthers. Let's do our history instead of people want to use football politics for everything. Look at the history. When does Carolina Panthers have anything? They had a white quarterback in Jake Delhomme who had nothing. Nothing. They had a defense who brought them to the Super Bowl, but they lost to the Patriots. Cam Newton had a defense. What's the difference? Oh, one's black, one's white. Is it just because Cam Newton's a black quarterback? No. It's the Panthers. Let's look at Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson, he's the first. They haven't won a Super Bowl at all. At all. So, I mean, look how he's treated. He got a defense. He's getting weapons. Let's look at Jameis Winston in Tampa Bay. Now, the Buccaneers went to the championship, surrounded Brad Johnson, and Jameis Winston, he's black, and they're doing the same thing. So, everybody wants to keep, it's a black quarterback, it's a black. No, it's not. It's the organization. Look at the organization, and you see, if you look at their history, you know how they're going to run. Do we see the New York Jets? Maybe if the Jets draft somebody with a fur coat, they just maybe do something. Because the last guy who wore a fur coat for the New York Jets, he won a Super Bowl. And that was Super Bowl 3. That was when Little House on the Prairie was the hottest show on TV. Okay, so let's look at the organization. That's where it starts from, the history. If you look at my Dallas Cowboys, there hasn't been a decade when we haven't tried to build the right way. You know, you're not going to win it all.
Because Dallas screwed the pooch on Quincy Carter. We'll say that.
Well, Tim, I would agree.
Listen,
Tim, I would agree with you. It does start with the organization, and the organization can't do that. The only obstacle that's different with your examples, you're talking about male athletes. Now, eventually, a male quarterback would break that, that mold and become a recognizable quarterback athlete. It's bound to happen because you're talking about a male athletic industry. Now you're talking about something of a venture that no one has ever. Let me finish. You talk about a venture that no one has ever talked before. A woman coach, and you're right, Tim. It takes the organization. It's a much steeper hill and a much larger leap to say that it's just the same for a woman coach of fitness system as for a black quarterback. It was a lot easier for a black quarterback because you talk about male athletes. Because you talk about male athletes. The common denominator that you talk about white quarterback and a black
Okay, Sean. Okay,
Sean. Right. I'm only saying that it's a little bit harder. Sean, you are right. Sean, a little bit harder.
Sean, let me ask you a question, Sean. Of the past, you got the Panthers, Ron Rivera. How the coach? How many teams has Ron Rivera coached before Carolina? The answer is none. He's a former linebacker for the Bears, a former player from the Bears. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's go to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was for the Patriots, went back to college, went to Seattle, and he won a championship. He don't got a long list of teams, but he has a short thing. My thing is this: if a guy could come in here like Mike Tomlin or somebody with his first head coaching experience, 1 year, his first time ever, and lead a team to a Super Bowl, a woman could do the same thing. Because here's another thing. Another thing also is this. Another thing also, a head coach, if you're the type of head coach that you're walking around and you're not calling X's and O's, but you're walking around, that's basically, okay, you're looking at both sides of the ball. You have your coordinators. You're the boss. You just got to run it.
I'm not saying that it's too hard for a woman coach to do it. That is not my argument. The leaps I'm talking about is the mindsets, the backwards mind, the massaging mindset that's still in the professional world today. It's not just football. It's everywhere. And let me finish this.
Wait, right now, Trisha, are you on the line, Trisha?
She
on the line?
Not on the line anymore. Basically, what I'm saying is this, Tim. For the leadership in each organization or in the NFL in general, for them to roll the red carpet for a woman head coach, just like they've done for all the male head coach thus far, is a much longer leap because of the stigmatism the organization have and the fans have. There's a much steeper venture for that to happen. It's a lot easier for the male quarterback, the black men quarterback, because we're talking about men. So yes, there's still a lot of racism in America, and racism does play a factor in professional sports, and that's why it took this long for a black quarterback to be respected. A black man.
What took it so long to be respected? I don't get that.
Yeah.
How?
Tim, I mean, I have a brain fart.
How? Listen.
What was it,
Sean?
For the Eagles?
Randall Cunningham, the greatest quarterback that will never make it into the Hall of Fame. because of how long he wound up playing and because of the injury-riddled career. A guy who in 7 years amassed better statistics than a Hall of Fame quarterback by the name of Troy Aikman.
Josh, Josh, are you there, Josh? Or Della, please. Josh, can we explain to these gentlemen that, again, when the Eagles had Randall Cunningham, the black head coach, the black quarterback, what type of the team they was? They were garbage. They never tried to build for you to win. Randall Cunningham went ahead and went out to the.
We're not talking about what they were built. He was scrutinized because he was a black quarterback. Cut it out, Tim.
Listen, no. Here's the thing.
Failures were based on his color, not on how the team was organized.
Will do very good if he's in a good organization. It's proven. It's proven. Look at the league right now.
Tim, slow down. Get back to my point.
Y'all go off with this. Y'all want to blame. Look at the leagues.
Tim, get back to my point. I met the Redskins. What's his name again? I forgot his name.
Number 17. That's the same number 17.
Talking about Doug Williams.
No, not him. Well,
what about him, Sean? What about him?
And that's when Vic got back to the league after this whole
Huh?
It was 2 black quarterbacks in the Eagles.
Oh, McNabb and Randall Cunningham.
Yeah, McNabb.
Okay, and let me say this again.
How long it took for him to get respected?
Well, Sean, wait a minute, Sean, hold up a second, Sean. No. I got to school you right there, Sean. Hold up a second. The only reason why McNabb didn't get the credit he deserved was because of the type of team the Eagles was. And don't interrupt me. I want to get my facts straight. McNabb came out and told the Eagles, "I want me a wide receiver." They came out and traded their pick with Dallas. We got Anthony Spencer and they got Kevin Cobb. If your franchise quarterback is telling you, "I want me a wide receiver," why the hell you go draft Kevin Cobb? Wait up a second. Baltimore Ravens game. The game is tied 6-6. I'm talking about the Baltimore Ray Lewis Ravens team that won the Super Bowl. That defense is no receivers. Sean, please. No receivers, no running backs on that team. And what did McNabb do? McNabb got benched because they wanted Kevin Cobb in there. The Eagles have not done anything until this new general manager is right now. It's called the organization. Some guys make moves, some guys don't.
Tim,
let's state the facts.
Tim, but you have to realize there is a race factor when it comes to.
We know there's a race, but why it's a race everywhere?
That's all, Tim. You bringing up other factors.
But you saying a race? Okay, wait a minute. So you bringing up race on a black quarterback for what reason? Name me a scenario.
Tim, we're going
a race being a factor in their lives.
Tim, if we're going to continue this path, we're going way off topic. We're talking. Oh my God, we're going on topic. Tim,
oh boy,
you agree that race was an issue in the NFL? We're talking about going back in the 70s, 50s, moving on to the 90s. Yes or no?
Who knows? We know that.
That's all I'm talking about.
Players now. So give me an example of when it.
Tim, I understand all you're saying, but I'm only talking about the race factor. That's it. Let's stay on the race factor. Okay, please, Tim. Why? Because we're the woman. What? Tim, I don't mean to bring up any other, because we're talking about how hard is it for the women head coach to break the glass ceiling and what it takes. And I'm saying that the example of saying that these black quarterbacks made it, I'm saying that you brought up the black quarterbacks as an example, and I agree with you.
Did.
Yes, you did. You did. You brought up the black quarterbacks. You did, Tim. You brought up Russ for being the first one to win a champ. You brought up Cam. You brought up the black quarterbacks, and I agree with you that with a good system, a black quarterback could be seen for their product, for their work, and to see past the rate, and that is true with a good system. And I agree with you. All I'm saying, Tim, is that for the women to get the same view, the same chance, that look at their work, look at their performance, aside of their gender, they got a longer bound to make because the perception of the league, the perception of corporate world, the management of corporate world, and the perception of society, it's they still have that stigma. They still cannot see past that yet. So it's a much longer leap for the women head coach. That's all I'm saying, in my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong, Tim. I'm saying that as what the black quarterback have done, they had an easier leap than what a woman head coach would need to do right now. That's
you
what
had mentioned Doug Williams, Nab, in saying that they was not respected. And I asked you, what I asked you was to use that
example, Tim.
That's Sean, you're interrupting, Sean. I was quiet. You gotta mute yourself, Sean. That's the button.
That's not what I meant. I didn't meant to take it. That's what I'm telling you.
I was quiet now.
Sorry, Tim. I made the wrong example. I didn't mean to make this conversation go that route.
It is.
But I think we'll take this off subject. But go ahead, Tim.
But see, again, no, because here's the thing. When I'm talking about the black quarterbacks, I use them an example as when people keep saying why a black quarterback does not succeed in the NFL, they're not looking at what they were surrounded by. The organization. The organization's been fearless for years. Look at the guy before him, and you can see why that guy has failed. When you are a team that keep doing the same thing over and over, you have a thing of just drafting. You don't sign no free agents. You're changing you're changing coaches. Mind you, when you change the NFL head coach every year, you're changing a playbook that it takes about 2 years to get it down pat. This is not a two-hand touch NFL league where we can just go outside and catch a football. No, to do. So in that case right there, before we judge, let's look at the history behind before that guy came. And like I have said earlier, Cam Newton as a black quarterback, look at him. Look who's before him. Jake Delhomme. Who before Jake Delhomme? Oh, nobody. It was the expansion team. Oh, excuse me, Kerry Collins. Two white quarterbacks and a black quarterback. They all made the playoffs. They all had a defense. They never go out and sign big free agent wide receivers, but they draft them. Cam Newton went to Super Bowl, so we can no longer say, "Oh, the Carolina Panthers they are racist because they won't get Cam Newton." That no, it's their system, the way they operate. Now, let me go to Fogman's Eagles team, and again, like I told Fogman, with the Eagles, and we know our history. The new GM right now, Joey Banner, and before him, they were garbage. They had, what's his name? Rodney Peete, Vandal Cunningham, okay? Then McNabb, and what they all have in common, the Eagles love drafting black quarterbacks. There's nothing wrong with that. But the one different thing they had for this current GM, their general manager was garbage. They did not know how to build around that guy to make him win. I recall his defensive player.
Tim, hold on a second, Tim. You're beating a dead horse. We agree with you on that. Hell, I agree with you on that. The problem is the social perception is the problem. It's not what we see as football people, as football enthusiasts who watch the game. It's the social.
Wait. Here's the problem, though. Tim, let me ask you this: you consider the Dallas Cowboys a good franchise, right?
Not only the Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers.
But no, but why didn't you build around Quincy Carter then?
Say it again.
Why did you build around Quincy Carter? You took him pretty high. Why don't you build around him?
Wait, hold on, Dollar. If you're gonna ask me about my history, let me be calm and answer that. Can I answer that?
Go ahead, answer it. Why don't you build around the guy? Okay, you drafted him high.
I'm glad you asked me about Quincy Carter. Don't forget Tony Banks too. He was the backup.
Right. He was right before him. Yeah.
Quincy Carter now was drafted, and I believe the second round. Second round. He was drafted out of Georgia. Now, when he goes to the team, long story short, Parcells get there. Quincy Carter failed 2 drug tests in front of Parcells. He brought the team to the playoff with Keyshawn Johnson and Terry Glenn. Parcells loved Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter failed another drug test before the Arizona Cardinal game. And mind you, you had Keyshawn, you had Terry Glenn, okay? Bill Parcells brought his people from the New York Jets and gave Quincy Carter weapons. We lost our only playoff game with him against the Panthers. Now, for the Cardinals game, drug tested, failed. He goes to the New York Jets for half a season, drug test, fails. He went to the Arena Football League, drug test, failed. Keep throwing it at me. So my whole logic is this: if you fail, you didn't get cut because you was a black quarterback. No, we gave you everything you need. All you need to do was stay clean, and you didn't stay clean. When we not gonna say be accountable for that instead of want to blame. That's what we.
Wait a second though. When was so? Who was behind Quincy Carter though? And when did Tony Romo come to the Cowboys? What year was that?
Tony Romo. Here's the thing. When Quincy Carter was there, Tony Romo was on the practice squad. Behind him was Clint Stoner, who was the first quarterback ever drafted after Troy Aikman retired. Remember Clint Stoner? I believe he played for Clint Stoner was there. Then we took the dude out of Michigan who was Tom Brady's backup quarterback there, and he was playing for the New York Yankees. Chad Henson, we had him. And matter of fact, we had Chad Henson when Emmy broke the record against Seattle Seahawks. Throw it at me, Donna.
I'm not too sure where this question.
My point is that you talk about success, yet when Quincy Carter was there, there are all types of other quarterbacks on the roster that were all these contingency plans. Why is that?
But see, that's the norm. The norm is when your franchise is gone, like Aikman, Emmett, and Irving, you got to rebuild. And the whole thing, when you're rebuilding, it's choices. I mean, let's keep this real. Before your Detroit Lions, before Matthew Stafford, who I think is the top quarterback, who you had before him. And let's keep this real. Why is it now? Here's the thing. No disrespect to Detroit organizations, but your 2 best players, Lions, got issues with the organization. We're talking about Barry Sanders, who's ill about Detroit Lions, and we're talking about Calvin Johnson. So there's a trail with that. When they retire, they back out the organization.
You're overstepping your boundaries a little bit because that's not completely true.
No. See, Sean, here's the thing I'm trying to tell you, Sean. If a female was coaching those areas, those teams where this issues after issues after issues, when you're getting organizations getting judged, why they're gonna fail. But when you have an organization,
I'm sorry. I think you finished. Go ahead.
You interrupt me.
No, I thought you was done. You paused.
Can you mute yourself again?
Pause,
Okay.
Tim.
Thank you. I think when it comes to that, that's the one thing we have to look at. I understand what Flagman said earlier. Society, the media is gonna blow it up. Of course, but if you have your boss come to the aid, like, no, it was my fault, and have your back and say, hey, listen, you gotta have thick skin. Don't worry about what they say. It's gonna be fine. But Tim, a lot of these teams don't do that. You know what?
Outside, listen, it's 32 teams in the NFL.
You gotta wrap it up quick, guys.
There's only 2 that I can think of that have. Okay, I got you. I'm with you.
Go ahead.
Out of these 32 teams in the NFL, I can only think of 2 off the top of my head that, as you describe, have a culture and don't have a ton of issues. Only 2. Patriots, Packers. That's it. Every other team, whether it be internal, whether it be that they've been mediocre for a sustained period of time, whether it's just a crappy market, I can go on and on. Only 2 teams I can think of that, as you're describing, fit that bill. That's the Patriots and the Packers. That's it.
And I mean, just
I can agree with that. I can agree with you with that. If you just tell my boys, Packers.
Every point you made sense, and I'm not against you. The thing is, the point you're saying that just give them a system to work with. The problem is, which organization is willing to give them the chance? And that's the question. I don't think the organization is in a mindset right now to give them a chance because of misogyny, because of the stigma it is that it comes to a woman being in that position. A woman can very well do it. If an organization is in a very progressive mindset and a progressive leadership, it would have been done already. It would have been here right now.
It's not true. It's not true.
Why hasn't it been done?
Well,
It would have been done by now.
Sean, is there a report that came out that a woman put in for the job and they said no?
I'm not finished though. My question is this: are you telling me that the leadership in each NFL organization is progressive mind enough to make a head coach woman? If you say yes, then we agree to disagree. Yes or no?
I believe yes. I believe a team. If a woman, if a woman is out there and she wants the job and she applies for it, I don't see why not. We have a woman owner.
Okay, I'm just saying this. Agree to disagree. Because that is pretty much where we're not here to beat you over the head, Tim. We're making our point.
Cue the closing music.
Agree to,
I mean,
You should never beat somebody up over for their opinion. Everyone has opinions.
Yeah.
That's what makes this a good discussion. If we all had the same opinion on this would be a boring ass show, and it would have been over by 8:20.
Nah, I'm pulling
Exactly.
the bat out. Tim, I'm coming to New York and beating you up for your opinion over a beer.
Hey, listen.
all it is.
See,
That's all it is.
My whole thing is this is a healthy conversation because we all going to learn a different ways of the topic, which is nothing wrong with that. My whole thing is that when the way I feel is this, you got some who would say the black quarterback or X, Y, and Z, and before you go into that notion, before you make those statements, look into the history of the organization before you say, okay, it's because of the color of his skin. No, it's because the team is terrible, and they don't know how to build right. This is what I'm trying to explain.
And that's
We get it all over.
I mean, if you talk about history, yes, the league is warming up to black quarterbacks where they're looking past the skin. Yes, recent history. We go back in the 70s, 80s, and that is unheard of. You black, you want to be a quarterback? Ha, fat chance. That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. I wasn't really talking about the recent history. I'm talking about back then and moving to the 90s and that transition for a black quarterback to break that mold. That's what the point I was getting at. And I agree with you that you look at the history, recent history, yes, they gave the black quarterback a chance. We're now seeing past this color of the skin of a quarterback. That right now we have been a progressive on, and I agree with you. That the organization is opening up for a woman coach. I disagree on that, and that's it. We could beat the horse dead right now, and we made that point. I think we can move forward. I agree what you're saying, Tim, to a certain degree. I just disagree that the organization is progressive for a woman head coach. That's the only part I disagree with you. That's it.
They're ready. They're ready. It depends who you are. If you're the type of guy, if you're the type of owner who's scared to make a move and who's timid, and I mean, you look at Jerry Jones, and I'm gonna use him because he's getting made fun every year. He's being made fun of every year for taking a chance on a guy who's on drugs. You know what's funny? And nobody's even mentioned this. Society, we all hypocrites. No, hold on. We all hypocrites. We sit and cry. Oh, how come this guy don't get a second chance? Oh, that's foul. Why he don't get a second chance doesn't mean he's bad forever. But the minute when a guy like Jerry Jones comes along and gives you that second and third chance, y'all make fun of him for that. So you're hypocrites. And that's the thing. That's what gets me. What gets me is like even the thing with Colin Kaepernick. And being that I'm hot right now, I don't mind expressing it. My whole thing with Colin Kaepernick was that
Yeah,
before the politics, we all say here, and I know it's on YouTube somewhere, he's a bad quarterback. He's not doing good. The minute he protests, I respect everything he did. Y'all want to give him a handout. I don't believe in handouts. If you earn it, you earn it.
that's a different.
If you earn the job, you earn the job.
Tim,
Listen, I'm sorry to say.
Tim, a handout.
I'm sorry to say.
Name 64 quarterbacks better than Colin Kaepernick. I'll leave it at that.
Here's the thing, Fog. Here's the thing again, Fog.
64. I want to hear 64 names.
No, we're not tired. We're not tired, right? Let's keep it high. We're high and warm.
Yeah.
Gotta wrap it up. You gotta wrap it up.
Fog came out and asked me a question. I can't be rude.
But we're not going to talk about Colin Kaepernick right now.
But see, it's the same. It's the
Tune
same
in Morning Fury. Tune in next week. Me and Tim are going head to head on Colin Kaepernick. You heard it here. 8 p.m. Wednesday night next week.
You
It's
see what
on.
I'm saying, Josh? What are you gonna say? Oh, he went to the Super Bowl in 2012. Ain't we in 2017? Wait, Dallas Cowboys fans, y'all always want to go back in the past. But did he go back in the past with 2012, 2017? It's 5 years ago. Does he earn did he deserve to be a quarterback?
That horse right now.
Let's
Yes,
keep it real and funky.
but Colin, I mean, we can make a subject about hypocrites right now, but it's
But see, this is all about. The thing is this is why I believe a woman can be a head coach. A woman could do if African American men came a long way and now are NFL quarterback, I don't see a fucking problem with a female coming along the way and doing the same thing. All it takes is from a brave organization to do the job. And it's gonna happen. We got a female referee. It's a stepping stone. And to you, all you ladies out there, I'm gonna tell you something. If somebody says you can't do it, you put up your middle finger. Listen to me. You put your middle finger up and you say, punt that. That's how you do it. You know why? Because guess what? If I can do this shit and you can do it. If Mike Tomlin can win a fucking Super Bowl, Jacqueline can win a Super Bowl. Trisha, you out there, Trisha? Guess what, Trisha? We're going to sign that fucking Jet contract and head coach that motherfucker. You will win a Super Bowl, Trisha. If you build it right, if you treat them right, you respect the ladies right, the way you would do the next man, you would get the fucking job done.
I have a bold prediction before we end for the night.
Go ahead,
Whenever
go
we
ahead.
get our first NFL female head coach, 30, 35 years, save this tape right here. Shimmy said it first. That woman is going to have a better head coaching record than Jeff Fisher ever had.
Right. You better like that
Yeah.
It was,
That's it. Is a wrap.
you know, but I mean, hey, if the league is ready and I'm wrong, I'm all for it. Right now, I don't see the league making that move, to my point of view. But yeah, we talked about, you know, is the college ready? Look like to the agreement to the rest of the panel is even harder for a woman head coach to scratch the college level. Again, I'd like to thank Trisha for tuning in. I wish we had more ladies.
Nah, fuck that. No, you know what? No. We got to applaud Trisha. No, wait a fucking minute. No. You know why we got to applaud Trisha? Because number one, she was a brave enough woman to call the fucking show, and Trisha is in charge of 2-minute warning. Coach 8 motherfucking men up in here.
We need a female coach for you and your vulgarity.
I don't see no females in the MMA podcast. What the? She's a female doing this shit. That's props. She's doing it. Standing on 2 grand. Ain't no motherfucking thing. Check this out. When you see, it's hard when a woman is surrounded by men. And when you're surrounded by men, and you gotta keep your pants up, take the fucking charge. You do it. That's fucking props right there. That is props. And I'll say I get fined. Who gives a fuck? Do your job, girl. Do what the fuck you're doing. That's how you fucking do it.
Wait, where was this Tim at the start of the
That's
show?
how you do
Damn
it. This is my point. A woman can do anything the fucking man can. and she's doing it.
We needed this Tim from minute one.
So thank you, Trish. Thank you. That's how you fucking do it.
Joining in. Thanks for the panel. Thank you, Tim, Bob, May, Dula, Josh. It's been a long show. It's been a heated show, but we made it through.
Oh y'all motherfuckers crazy as far as I'm concerned.
Crazy too, Dula. Don't
No doubt, Bella.
I embrace my craziness. It's okay. I've accepted it.
Man, pump that.
Yo, we'll catch us next week, guys. Same place, same time. Cold Cuts.
No doubt.
Now,
No Dale, no women. I'm just kidding.
Inside the two. Next week, Inside the two. What's the next?
I love you,
No
lady.
doubt, no women.
No
love
Dale, no women.
That's right. Wendy.
No doubt is pretty close.
Tina Thomas. Listen, motherfucking props. Oh, it's like 9 females in a 2-minute warning. 9 females versus about 2,000 men, and they keep that shit up every fucking week. You know how that is? Keep doing the job. That's how you fucking do it.
all right, guys. We will catch you guys next week. Same time, same place. Hopefully, we're not late again. Easy. And we out.